She was like, oh, you're such a pretty color. Now, I just said, ma'am, and I don't believe in disrespecting nobody that's older, you know. But I remember I had to step out in the hallway and I used my cell phone. I called my grandma. My grandmother went to school back in the 50s. She passed now, but she was, if anybody knew how to handle the situation, it was her.
Okay.
Because remember,
Not my grandma, child.
She went to
Lord.
school and faced racism every day. So I said, Grandma, I just got called a colored. And I didn't part laughing, part serious.
Right.
She said, oh, she said, well, how did she say it? What? I was like, she said it. She was like, no, how did she say it?
Yeah.
So I gave her the context. She said, oh, yeah. She said, that's all she knows. She said, so hang up. She was like, go back in the room and inform her that you're African-American.
Right.
Or, you know, that you're
Or
black.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got to go give a lesson?
Welcome to Black Wealth Weekly podcast, where you can find different guests being interviewed by me, Shaniqua Nicole, the Millennial Money Maven, every single week, where we will be breaking down how they got into their respective industries and are creating wealth for their families. You don't want to miss an episode, so hit the bell and tune in. What's up, family? Welcome to this week's episode of Black Wealth Weekly. I'm your girl, Shaniqua Nicole, the Millennial Money Maven. And y'all know I don't fail to disappoint with my amazing guests. And today is no different. So I have my girlfriend, Sonia Lewis, a.k.a. the Student Loan Doctor.
Yes.
What's up, darling?
Thank you for having me. I'm
Yes.
excited. We're going to have a good conversation.
Yes, I'm sure we are going to have a good conversation. So I first met you years ago.
Yes.
In a whole different environment. So we were venturing in the more diverse space of finance.
Yes.
In like the FinCon environment.
Yes.
And so now we have a lot of...
There was a FinCon. I'm thinking it was the office. No, it's FinCon.
No,
the office.
FinCon, yeah. I met you at FinCon years ago. This is before there were even a whole lot of diversity. Right.
Okay, see you later.
Right. But so it's so good to see, to see us both
still here.
Building. Exactly. Still here. Girl, still building.
It's an anomaly.
Yes. I think Wall Street Trapper was at that FinCon, like one of them
so?
FinCons. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. He said that he had started in that space because that's just where people were talking about finance.
Right.
It wasn't really so black. But so tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, who you helped, because she is abolishing student loan debt across the country, guys.
It's been good. It's been interesting. I'm getting to that. So, Sonia Lewis, aka the Student Loan Doctor, out of Philly. Although I live in Miami, although I might move again, we'll see. Again, wherever the money resides. Excited because with the Student Loan Doctor business that's about now 7 years old.
Wow.
We've helped, I would say we're getting close to the 6-figure mark in terms of the amount of clients we serve. Wow. And we quantify that by the courses, the discovery calls, the consults, And our most notable thing that I'm most proud about, like this year and last year, we started to see big numbers of loan forgiveness come through. So I would say that 2022 was just unlike any other year in terms of the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. Mm-hmm. And I truly went to work. Like I was on live morning.
Serving.
Noon.
Serving.
Night.
Yes.
And I would feel guilty if I took a time off. Not even a day, a time.
Right.
Like I used to really go live like 3 times a day.
Wow.
And I remember I was exhausted. I just wanted a nap. Because I really do naps every day. Actually, in my nap time right now.
Miss no kids.
So, and I remember I had like given my naps and but I just could not like this one day. And do you know I had got some DMs like, everything okay? We were looking for you. So I've started to, I've always had a nice community, but the build out of the community really happened, I would say, in the pandemic, but particularly last year, because we were showing up, and we still do show up once a day, I would say.
Okay.
Although recently this weekend I did a little test. I was like, let me see if I can live my best life this weekend. Because I had been home in Miami for a while, and I just wanted to drive my nice car. It's nice, like 87 degrees.
Right.
Girl,
I'm so jealous.
Emails and DMs. Like, is everything okay? Everything all right?
Like, where you at, sis?
Yeah, it's like I've trained my tribe. So in any case, we are like the number one brand and close to really, I would say, like the only brand that's hyper focused on getting rid of student loan debt. There are other consultants, right? There are people that come and go in the space, but like when you think of student loan debt, I can't think of any other brand that rivals us. And to be honest with you, being in business for 7 years now, I just knew that there would be. I just knew somebody was coming.
Right.
Girl, ain't nobody come.
Ain't nobody
But
come.
where y'all at? We need help.
No competition.
Virtually.
Or help.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
again, remember, there's individuals that can do
Right,
it
right.
and pick it up. I encourage it because it's what,
The
48 million
need
Americans that
is-
need it.
Right.
So we can't service everybody. So I
Yeah.
do encourage it. But in terms of championing the topic and being the authority, no. So
Right. So talk to us about who you serve. Like,
Mhm.
are you helping people that are fresh out of college with student
Yeah,
loans,
that's a good
or
question.
people that are like 15 years out? You know, like
so we looked at our statistics recently. We serve a lot of ages 35 to 50.
okay,
Like that's our core audience. I think unintentionally Black women.
Mhm.
Now I'm gonna be honest. I think when I started off, I was very hyper focused on Black women as a Black woman because statistically, Black women have the most degrees in student loan debt.
period.
So that was a natural fit.
Right.
Then the brand started to evolve, to others outside of being a Black woman.
Right.
But then I just feel like, again, just when we go back to numbers and loan forgiveness and who works in those public service fields, Black women. So that's what we see the most in terms of the majority of people we serve. But we can help everybody. Let me be clear.
Okay.
Now there are some anomalies. Like for example, I was talking to an older guy. He was a white gentleman, but he had a lot of Parent Plus loans, and that's not really a norm,
Yeah.
right? But he had 90,000. Was stressed out. He wanted to retire soon, and so
he was the parent.
He's the parent
that took out
with
loans for his
90,000
child.
in federal loans for
Gotcha.
2 children. Yep.
Wow.
And he was embarrassed because, again, he said it himself. He was like, my friends are not dealing with these issues.
Right.
So who could he talk to?
Yeah.
So he hadn't found his little Black girl on Instagram now. He said he found me through YouTube, but whatever. But it was cool. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's a universal problem. It
Right.
just may be more common in our community.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
So there's no help for a person like him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So his situation which was interesting. He did work for a qualified organization for loan forgiveness.
Okay.
But he had to do certain things to his loans to become eligible.
Gotcha.
So we had walked him through that process. And I know that like a lot of this seems very ABC, but I think people forget a lot of times that even though the information is on studentaid.gov, it is overwhelming.
Oh yeah.
You get on that website and you be like,
right. It's just
Yeah,
like
so-
taxes.
yeah, it's just, well, you know that.
You
It's
know?
just like taxes.
Yeah.
So he was like, I've been on the website. He was like, and I got a loan that they want me to, he's like, consolidate and they want me to choose. And so, you know, he had some of it right and some of it wrong.
Right.
And this is the type of thing where it's like consolidating your loans is like dyeing your hair.
Mm.
So if you do it the wrong way, you can't call the Department of Ed like, I'm joking. Like, no, you just got green hair.
Right.
Like, so I was just telling him, I was like, you know, if you would trust us to help you, we could set you up.
Gotcha.
And then we were able to get him some bad credit. So he should be coming up on being done with paying his loans pretty soon. But again, who could he ask that question? Can't ask his other friends because
Right.
they're not in the same boat.
Right.
Maybe not even the women around him that had that same issue.
Right.
So, you know, he was like, I'm so glad you started your business. He was
Awesome.
like, because he said it. And it even says it on Mohilia's website. We cannot answer questions related to your PSLF. Like, what?
Mm.
Who do you call?
Right.
So it's been really interesting.
Awesome. Well, I love it. So what actually is, like, what do you guys do? You know,
Mhm.
if I got student loans, I come to you, what are my options and what does it look like working with you?
So it's changing, right?
Okay.
So listen, before the pandemic, I could do what I do, eyes closed, like girl.
Right.
Now, oh girl, I gotta read again. I gotta sit through
We all
conferences
do.
again.
Girl, they done had all these tax
I gotta
laws,
go to the
all
conference.
these new
I know.
laws. All these new laws.
Here's what's really funny. We were always up on the conferences, and we were like 5 conferences a year. And then it hit me, they're not saying anything new. So we like slowed down,
Right.
because it's a lot of time and money.
Right.
And I was like, no, I just told my team last month, I was like, no, guys, we're back.
We
to
got to get
conference mode.
learning.
Yeah, because Biden changes something every 2 days. Like, oh, goodness. So anyway, so what do? So we are primarily helping people with the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, PSLF, Borrowers Defense.
Which is what?
If they
What is
went
the
to one of the,
PSLF?
so PSLF, if you worked for a qualified employer, like at a nonprofit, not-for-profit, healthcare, government, right, education, if you worked at that location, you could sign up for a program that would allow you to get your loans forgiven after 10 years. And in July, some cool updates happening. You can even expedite payment so it could be quicker than 10 years. Big win, right? But you got to like go to my YouTube to find out more about that.
Okay.
It's so much to break down. I would do it injustice. There's so many things happening that I'm not trying to be funny. Like that one sentence that I might miss to say in this interview is the most important part of the process, right? So we've been doing a lot of content videos, a lot of like content on our social media pages. It is that one sentence, I cannot make this up, that could be and I'm gonna give you an example.
Changer.
So I had a lady that actually came to an event here in Atlanta just to tell me thank you. She bought a ticket at somebody else's event that I was speaking at to tell me thank you because we were going back and forth in her DMs and my DMs with her rather, and she owed $220,000. The reason why she could never get her $220,000 forgiven before is because she did not take the advice, or she didn't even understand it, to consolidate her loans from FFELP, that's a loan type, to direct loans, a newer loan type.
Okay.
So she just wasn't getting it. I don't know if she had concerns, whatever. I remember this lady because I remember I sent her a message back because now, Jesus said to be nice to everybody. Now, I do want to know the threshold for that because she was on my last nerve. I said, ma'am, we are talking about the same question. I said, you can do one of two things. You need to work with a professional team member.
Right.
Or I was like, you just need to do X, Y, and Z. There's a free class that I'm doing about it tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, she did wind up, she said, buying the ebook, but she took the class.
Right. She
did the one change, send her paperwork in, forgiven in 30 days.
$200 and something thousand.
So literally at, whose conference was this? EYL.
Okay.
The EYL conference I was speaking at. She came up to the table that we had and just started turning and twirling.
Wow.
I'm like, what is this lady on?
Right.
No, she was just so happy and she started crying. I'm not good with
girl, you got $250,000 off my back?
That isn't the highest we got.
I want a kid.
We got somebody
like we family.
$600,000 forgiven. $600,000 forgiven.
Somebody had $600,000
$600,000 forgiven from our help. Yep.
What kind of education they had?
I don't know. Compound interest. I don't even. I'm like, well, do I get a gift card for that?
Right.
Okay.
A percentage or something?
Girl. And this is I'm not.
So do you do consolidations?
We do, but as a service, but we don't get any money from that.
Okay, got you.
Girl, people are getting six-figure loan debt forgiven for less than $100 by working with us.
Shut up.
Like, I don't be sleeping too well when I think about that. Let's move on. No. So, but here's what I am blessed to say. Because we serve so many people,
right?
I'm not in lack of.
Right.
Like, so, you could times $97 by 15,000 people. Like, so I think that the blessing is I don't have to charge a lot. Now, we do have services that cost money.
Yeah.
But when we talk about like digital products, right? Some people, like, good example. One girl got $146,000 forgiven because she had a disability. And I walked through I did a 30-day challenge. This was in the top of the pandemic for $10.
Wow.
Something like that. And I just wanted to engage people.
Yeah.
And every day it was a quick nugget I dropped on a special page. It was like, but not a lot of requirement for me.
Right.
And we actually got 10,000 people to sign up. So do the math for that. But she got right. So
10,000 people?
Yeah, because you know who?
Well,
Neo,
for $10.
Neo was like,
Neo.
You're doing $10 challenges.
Right.
Times 10,000.
Yeah. But Neo.
He's like, I ain't know that part. Right. I said, because it was never for me to tell anybody.
Right.
So he was like, oh, okay, well, I like that. Right. I like it too.
I mean, it's a marketing thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're either going to spend the money on ads, right? At least you can get your ad costs back, right? From attracting the people to your brand.
Yep.
You charge them $10. It's almost like doing it for free,
yep.
but requiring some kind of commitment from them. I'm not mad at it.
Girl, somebody take that idea. I might run it for April.
Run the
play. The point is, she spent $10 and got $146,000 forgiven in 30 days because she had a disability. It was something with a cancer. I don't remember all the details. That because here's the key word, guys, it's chronic. So if you are suffering from something chronically that stops you from continuously working, you could be eligible and don't even know it.
Wow.
So the thing is, when we look at each other, we cannot see a few things. I can't see what's in your bank account, your credit score. I can't see what health elements you're dealing with.
Right.
So I don't assume that when I'm talking to anyone I'm talking to, it could be worst case scenarios in my mind. Like literally, and another guy got $60,000 forgiven because he had an issue with his knee. I forget all the details again, but I remember it had to do with his knee, child.
Right.
But it was chronic and it was keeping him out of work. 60,000 forgiven.
Wow.
So if you're watching this and you are dealing with something health related that is chronic that can be verified by your doctor, it's called TPD, total permanent disability.
Gotcha.
Yep, they can look into it.
Right. I love it. Well, there you go. That's $100,000, $200,000 bar that she just gave y'all. So student loan doctor business. You've been doing this for 7 years. How did you get into it? Like, what made you start a business focusing strictly on student loans?
Yeah, I was broke.
Okay.
That's it right there. So I went to a financial literacy course. I'm in class and they're not talking about student loans. Now let's back up. My professional background is in this too. I used to work in higher ed and help people with the college process and explaining repayment and so I wasn't new to it. And then I was studying my dissertation on how
I love that.
Yep, student loan debt affects African American women. So I was already in the mix of the topic. So then when I was trying to go through my own financial healing, if you want to call it that, I realized that these classes and workshops I was taking, nobody was talking about student loans. So then I found myself in the audience giving the answer. Because remember, I'm hyper-focused, right?
Right.
So I stood up at this meeting, like, don't do this, guys. I went rogue. I was like, so I want to talk about student loans. This is not on the agenda. I am not a speaker. They're looking at me like, oh my God. And I'm like, I stood in front of the guy. Hey, Kamari. So I stood in front of him and I took over. And then, and remember, like you were there, in this room, it was all millennials.
Right.
This is what they wanted to talk about.
Right.
He sits down. I can't make this up. I start teaching. So people were like, I need to book you for the next event. So the Urban League has something. So first off, I think that we have a healthcare problem. You should not be able to go on Amazon and order a white lab coat and get anything you want stitched. This is why they're fake doctors. We don't know. Okay, let's continue. So I order a white lab coat and I stitch my name, but I put Student Loan Doctor, whatever. I don't even know if I put Student Loan Doctor yet because I don't think I had got the concept ready, but I'm the doctor.
Right.
Show up with this lab coat. I order a stethoscope and I start speaking on it.
Okay.
So now you know me. If somebody say, how much to look at my loans and tell me what to do, remember, this was not a business in my mind just yet.
Right.
But when that question got answered, I knew how to answer. That's a great question. Are you available next? I don't know what I said. I was like, next Tuesday at like 6:00.
Right.
I actually meet on City Line Avenue with people. Girl, I did not.
Right.
She was like, I could get to City Line because I saw other people doing it. Remember, gotta have a little secrets in your pocket. I said, well, the cost is, I think I said $50. I said $50 for the hour. First off, way too little, too much. But I didn't know. And it was more than what I was making an hour at work, remember?
Right.
So she was like, okay, I could do that. I said, and I need my payment up front. Now, I ain't slowing nobody. I ain't taking right now. This is before Cash App. So what I made it do, I might have made it PayPal me. I think we had PayPal going on. 7 years ago, we had PayPal. Yeah. I know I took my money some type of way.
Right.
But when I went home that night, I started looking at how you take in money. I needed to meet with one of my friends. His name is Kenji. I'm like, we gotta, like, I went into like crying sleep probably for like 3 days. I gotta get ready for Tuesday.
Right.
Then she did send me my money.
Okay.
And we met. So then I put it out there on social media. And remember, I had just did another class. And so my calendar was full from 6 to 10.
Wow.
Every
6 p.m.
day.
to 10 p.m.?
Yep, because it
And
took
so
me.
you would work in the morning.
I worked 9 to 5.
Okay.
I would get off, drive straight to Corner Bakery, use the bathroom, order my little meal because I can't get kicked out now.
Yeah.
Now I got to flirt and get the boost. Okay, because it's strategic. I need a plug.
Right.
So I had to find out who the manager was. I still owe him a date. If you see this, sir, I apologize. It's not going to happen. But I am grateful that he would like literally girl, I don't even know this reserve sign came from. I don't even think Corner Bakery's supposed to have reserve signs.
Right.
So it's like
But he had one for you.
He had one for me, child. Yes. So I sit there, I move my little sign. He was checking on me, bringing me free juice. I don't even know if it's free refills at Corner Bakery. And I was honest with him, and I told him what I was. But other people were there using it for business too.
Yeah.
And I said, "There's an
order."
order.
This was your first little office.
Yeah, I said it's facts. I said, "There's an order minimum. Just let me know." Like, girl, He was like, "Well, I do make them like order every 2 hours." He said, "But I got you. I see what you're doing." He's like, "When we go out,
we gonna
talk about it." I'm like, I gotta get an office and I gotta get one soon. so is that my equivalent taking $40?
Right.
Anyway, the point is,
you worked out 6 to 10. You had your 4 appointments.
Then I started using my PTO. So I did have a really good manager that I confided in and told the truth. Oh, because at this time, I also, like a year into this, got invited to, right before the Obamas left office, to go to the White House and talk about what I was working on. And so now it's getting a little bigger than life, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, ta-da! Like, So long story short, I took off. I used my PTO. I booked out all day, gave myself an hour lunch break. And this was moving, and it was a thing. And I was like, okay, I need a second location. Cozy's. It's like Corner Bakery. But I chose in another part of the city.
Right.
People showed up for those appointments on the weekend. Can you believe it?
Wow.
Then I really felt comfortable to get an office at that point.
Right.
And I did.
God is good.
It was good.
That is amazing.
It's a really cute story. I'm tired. I'm still tired thinking about it.
Listen, we was... 17 years ago, hustling.
Yeah. Is that 7? How long has it been? 7?
At least.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it's been, my son is 8, so I've been here for 8 years.
Yeah.
So,
I know we came in around the same time. I remember. Yeah. Remember we was doing those workshops?
Yes.
And remember I got that big office?
Yes, that was huge.
So my landlord did not agree for that to be nobody else. I got this huge office. I didn't know you were coming. If somebody else's event or something, right? Remember?
I think I had an event. I had an event in Jersey, and then you were having an event, so I pulled up.
Was that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you invited me out.
Yes, 100 chairs. That was not supposed to be just an office.
Right.
And then, you was snitching on me.
Lord, she had 100 people in this building.
I was like, am I not allowed to provide financial literacy in my office?
Period.
No. There's rules and regulations for event space, guys. I did not.
Okay.
Yeah. But that made me a lot of money.
Okay.
Financial brunches.
Right.
Brunches are totally not supposed to be. I had a lot of people that were just, I think, genuinely nice to me because I was trying to do something really good. And I have been doing good work. But in hindsight, it's a lot of foolery that probably went down that I should have got charged for.
But you got the job done.
Yes, but it's good. It's good. So that's the start of it. That's the kickoff of it.
I love it. So did you have a lot of student loans yourself, and that's kind of what made you?
Yeah. So I'm almost done paying off the doctoral loans.
Oh,
right.
Wow.
And to be honest with you.
So you are a doctor?
No.
Okay.
No. I will be. This is the thing I'm doing. I will be, but it's a lot. So I'm technically EDS.
Okay.
I think it's weird to introduce myself as EDS.
Yeah.
It's a doctoral specialist.
Gotcha.
I think that's weird. Mm-hmm. Like, it need to be EDD or just be quiet. Like,
okay.
That's my own philosophy, but I've earned EDS. So basically, that's everything about doctoral except for the dissertation. When it was my dissertation phase, my chair had got fired. My business took off. Girl.
You just didn't get a chance.
No.
So, we just had Oye in here. Mm-hmm. Are you getting your PhD with him?
I think so. Is he doing it in June?
I don't know. But I know that he has a doctoral program. And I was just like, yeah, I'm going to do that for my birthday.
You should.
Yeah.
They make you go through hoops.
Okay.
So, some programs don't. Some do. But the one that I'm looking into, so we can talk offline. I think it's good. I'm going to be honest with you. I almost said no because I don't think it's the same as a doctoral program. And I'm hung up on certain things. But I also think I do deserve it because as a practitioner in the field, that's greater than any dissertation that I could have written.
Yeah.
Theorizing about the topic.
Right.
So
you've done the work. So that's the thing about an honorary doctorate is you've done the work and you're being honored for the work that you've done. So you don't need to do a dissertation. Somebody need to do a dissertation on you and your business because you have done the work and you have shown the model and how you can help people. I would love to see how that quantifies as far as like how much student loan debt you got people out of.
Well, we are keeping count this year.
Okay.
We haven't count before, but this year we are up to, I think we're close to 6 million so far.
Already.
That people are attributing to us. Like literally on my way here, somebody got 145,000 forgiven.
Wow.
And I just send it over to the team and we just keep in score.
Wow.
Now again, we're not going to get told everything.
Yeah.
And then some people are embarrassed. Like then one girl, she was just telling me, thank you. It took her 2 weeks for me to know the number, and it was 335,000. I just remember people numbers for whatever reason.
Oh my gosh! So my goddaughter actually just called me today because she got her scholarship or financial aid package for school. Mm-hmm. It's $45,000 to go to Clark Atlanta University here in Atlanta a year.
A year?
Yeah, $45,000 a year.
Like a down payment for a house.
Like a whole down payment. So she's calling me frantic, like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do? Do I take this loan for $40,000? Because I think the grant that she gets is like $7,000, and the loan they were trying to give her was like $37,000. So I'm like, okay, well, if we do that, then now you're going to have $150,000.
Institutional loan? Has to be.
No, it's probably going to be a public.
Well,
I don't think all of it's going to be private.
No, about 10,000 of it can be federal starting off. So there's probably institutional loan.
Got you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the rest is going to be coming from the bank. Mm-hmm. Somebody that's going into college, what do you advise? You've been doing that, you were doing that kind of work. What do you advise to somebody that's going to college trying to figure it out?
I have to tell people, remind people that when we're talking about college choices, it's like you looking at your first home. It's the same feeling that goes off in the brain for a younger person, right? So it's like you don't want to tell her no to Clark Atlanta, and that might be her like dream. Like she's made it.
Right.
Right. And we know we know she would do well.
Yeah.
But the number attached to it, the value 9 times out of 10 isn't going to equal to what she's put out for it. Mm. So she may graduate with a degree that pays $60,000-$70,000, we hope.
Right.
That's half.
Well, she wants to be a lawyer. So she's like, oh, I'm like,
well,
you can come out. You still got law school.
Yeah.
So she's like, yeah, this is going to be 7 years. I'm like, yeah, but when you come out of law school, maybe you could be making $200,000. But that's going to be 7 years down the line. You're going to have $200,000 in debt. Mm-hmm. What do the kids do? So what's your best advice for people going through college, in college?
I'm just going to give it to you plain, child. Like, really, your state college is your best option. Mm-hmm. If you don't like community or college, I know people want to get away. State college, right? State colleges have so much funding available to you. And then you need to go find your girlfriend and go visit and party at Clark Atlanta. Ta-da!
Period.
No, because, and I'm not trying to be funny, like I was a road trip warrior.
Girl, I went to all the homecomings.
Yes, and I had a full ride.
Everywhere.
I was at school.
Delaware.
Yep, I had my car, I had my jobs, and on the weekends I was off, and I party at other schools.
Right.
Ta-da!
That's the secret.
That was for free. And, like, I see you, sir, when I come back to your campus at the next party. We're not about to fall in love. Like, I just wanted to be in the mix.
Right.
But can I say this? So I went to a predominantly white institution. And at the time, I was like, oh, my God, I'm missing it. But let me tell you something. I'm going to be really honest. I get distracted so easily that I needed to be in the mountains with the cows and the ducks and the white people. I'm sorry. No. Because if I was with my girlfriends and I was with the turn up, I would not have graduated.
Yeah.
I don't know what this would have looked like. I would have not had like a 4.0. I would have wanted to be at everybody's I was it. I was
right.
And then I had got some money come in. So long story short, my mom had got sick when I was in high school, and they owed us some back money. So I had got like this $10,000 check. So you couldn't tell me that was like $1 million back then.
Right.
So I brought my true religion. I was popping.
Right.
So it's really like I should have girl. So I was glad that I went to this institution that was calm, chill, just a few of us.
Right.
All you can do is study and be about your books.
Right.
And then my weekends was my fun turn up. And then as I got a little older, we had like $2 Tuesdays,
Right.
And it helped me work with the world. Because being from Philly, all I knew was black people and Puerto Ricans. When I went to school and I had to interact with white people, I was like, oh, okay. This is different than what we see on TV. I'm different to them than what they saw on TV.
Right.
And now I have to work with you. You have to learn how to work with me.
Yeah.
And I remember I had a roommate, her mom used the word colored. She was like, oh, you're such a pretty colored. Now, I just said, ma'am. And I don't believe in disrespecting nobody that's older, But I remember I had to step out in the hallway and I used my cell phone. I called my grandma. My grandmother went to school back in the 50s. She passed now, but she was, if anybody knew how to handle the situation, it was her.
Okay.
Because remember,
Not my grandma, child.
She went to
Lord.
school and faced racism every day. So I said, Grandma, I just got called a colored. And I didn't part laughing, part serious.
Right.
She said, oh, she said, well, how did she say it? What? I was like, she said it. She was like, no, how did she say it?
Yeah.
So I gave her the context. She said, oh, yeah. She said, it's all she knows. She said, so hang up. She was like, go back in the room and inform her that you're African-American.
Right.
Or, you know, that you're
Or
black.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got to go give a lesson? She said, yes.
Every chance you get.
And she said, and you need to ask her what she prefers. So I go back in the room. I never forget this day. I was like, before you go, I just want to educate you on something. I was like, my voice was trembling because this lady, this is my roommate's mom.
Right.
And I said, so we don't use the word colored anymore. And she looked like so shocked. She was red-faced. She wasn't trying to be mean.
Yeah.
She said, what? I was like, true story. I was like, yeah. I was like, we say black, African-American.
Right.
I was like, but we don't say colored.
Right.
And I said, and you got to be careful. I was like saying that. I was like,
oh my goodness.
I said to my roommate, I said, and you too. I said, because you got the right one to tell you how not to say it, because you could say that and it could go wrong.
Right.
You know, I didn't want to scare her, but like, this the 2000s, like anybody. So she was like, so the lady sits down. She had a whole moment.
Oh, wow.
She said, well, the TV show I was watching still referred. I didn't even ask what show, child. So anyway, she leaves. She gave me a hug. She apologized. Like, it was a moment, you know, she left. So I told my roommate, I said, today we're going to watch updated black shows.
I know that's right.
I had her watch it like not Love It. What was that show it was on? I Love New York.
Okay.
I said, now this is a ratchet black person.
Girl,
I had to give her the dichotomy.
That's what I hated. I hated the black television shows.
She was cracking up. I was like, so this is not who I grew up with, or me, or I was like, but this is a version of black people.
Right.
And so she's put me on some shows. So we had like the best, we lived together for a year.
Nice.
It was a really good, like, where else would I get that experience?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, so again,
I went to a white school too. I went to an all-girl Christian
college?
High school.
Oh, high school.
High school. Oh. I was the only black girl in my grade.
Really?
And it was cool. You know, they were really rich white people. But, you know, I think, like you said, it gives you that worldly experience where now you can go and operate in the world. So I actually started working at Merrill Lynch when I was 19. And, you know, that has been my career in finance. So it's like, you don't get to grow and be worldly without having these worldly interactions. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Because we want to go seek them out otherwise.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I feel like I'm having that in Miami since I moved to Miami.
Oh, girl, Miami's so diverse. You got people from all over the world.
I didn't understand that there were, and I want to say this in the most educated way possible, but this was my own ignorance before moving there. I didn't understand that there were different people of different Latino descents. So you may be from the DR, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Venezuela, right? And in my mind, coming from Philly, everybody's Spanish.
Spanish.
That ain't a
I know.
Because Spanish is a language.
Right. So I had a moment about this because, you know, I go to Dominicans to get my hair done.
Yes. Okay.
So what I've learned about the difference between, you know, because you think you can go get a doobie, but I've learned that you can't just go to a Spanish place to get your hair done because Spain is in Italy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so that is Europe.
Yeah.
So they're used to working with European hair versus Dominican and Africa and, you know, they're used to working with more coarse hair. So that's why Dominicans are the right people for us and not just going to like a Spanish place.
So you went to a Spanish place?
Yeah, so it was interesting because there's two in the same plaza and my one girl wasn't there and I said, all right, well, I'm just going to go over here. And my hair was just totally different. But I understood. Me and the lady started to talk. She told me, you know, back in Italy, she worked with people with really fine hair. So that's all she's used to. So could they do your hair or not? She did it, but it wasn't like my girl.
It ain't lay.
You know, it wasn't laying.
No. Like, I used to go to the Dominicans back in Philly.
Girl, me too. I used to drive all the way to Philly to go to Dominicans.
Yes.
From Trenton.
Oh, really?
Yes, girl.
It's a thing. So, so funny. We digress. But I just hired a personal assistant. Hey, Drew. And he is from Colombia.
Okay.
And he had to educate me, right? It was like me educating that lady.
Right.
And I said, really?
Right.
Because so, now watch this. he went to Philly with me. We had so much to do in Philly. He was like, I owe you an apology. I said, what? He said, it's only Puerto Ricans here. So we bust out laughing. I said, I told you that's all I know. So I said, and they said they was like they never corrected us. He said, because we really got to do like a tour of Philly.
Right.
There's so much to do. He was like, because there are like black people here. He said, I've never met Puerto Ricans that were like black people. He said, like they always had their own culture. He said, but you guys are so mixed in. And I was trying to explain it to him.
Yeah.
So it's really good for him to see a visual. He said, okay. He said, so everything that you were like saying before, he's like, I totally get now.
Right.
Because now, watch this. I had to get my room fixed. And I know some Spanish, not a lot. So I'm like, go Drew, activate. He do this thing, child. And he will hustle you down. If you say the price 160, he gets it to 120. I ain't never seen nothing like it. He is totally earning his geek.
I love it.
So they looking at me, because remember, so like, what is this hair color?
I mean, you could be Spanish or something.
Well, I get, in Miami, I get Dominican.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then it depends
You're
on my
very
hair.
fair skinned.
But if I got locks, I'm black. But if I get that curly one,
yeah,
with some
they
waves,
can't tell.
oh, child, they really be like whole world messed up. I'm Mexican, matter of fact. So I think when I went with Drew, I had like some curls or something, and you could see it on these guys' face. They're like, "Is she Spanish?"
Right.
You know, like, and then he is, speaking Spanish, but he's from Colombia.
Right.
So this guy asked, he just came over. It was like the funniest moment. We bust out laughing before we like cued him in.
Right.
He was like, are y'all together? He had like key questions. He was like, do you speak Spanish? He was like, what are you? Because he's looking at Drew and Drew got these tattoos on it. It's just like the funniest scenario.
Right.
And then he was like, that's my boss. He's like, she's black. He's like, I'm from Colombia. He was like, wow.
This week's episode is sponsored by ABCs for Rich Kids by 7-year-old author and entrepreneur Bryce Nicholas. Please tell us where we can find your book.
abcsforrichkids.com.
Awesome. This book is so amazing, guys. It literally goes from A to Z with different financial terms for your little loved ones. Awesome. So we've got F is for future value. E is for evaluation. H is for air. Guys, if you do not have this book, the Amazon #1 bestseller, please go and grab it now at abcsforrichkids.com. So speaking of, are you together? Are you available? Are you single? What are you doing out here
today's
these
date?
days?
Okay. Girl, go back. No. I am pleasantly dating.
Okay.
I'm dating and I'm enjoying my dating, and I realize that in this season it is best to just date. Because right now I'm in a very whimsical season. Meaning like I am in Miami, but I am thinking about Atlanta a lot. I'm thinking about back home and then just traveling. And so the thing is, I have a few properties. I was just telling you, like, I really don't need to be locked into a place. If I have places, kind of nomadic, if you will. But there's money that I need to get access to, relationships I need access to, and they're not all in one city.
Right.
So I feel like I'm limiting myself by being in just one city. I would like to have a place to call home.
Yeah.
And like have my valuables. So I'm thinking through that as we speak. Miami has been very interesting for me. Dating in Miami has been very interesting. That's hilarious. I am enjoying my experience, and I feel like my dating in Miami has been very colorful.
Okay.
I think you met the gentleman that was there.
I
dating.
did at one point.
Yeah, and he's all about experiences, and he's going to make a movie for you. And I never had anybody do that, so that's fun for me.
Right.
Because I'm a giver, and his love language is giving. Or even if I say, hey, she's coming in town, he will think through like your meal, like I've never seen anything like it. So it's an interesting concept. And then there's been times when, like, in terms of dating, I prefer to date someone that is hands-on in my projects. Like I'm a woman that won't need money, but I need your time.
Right.
Like I need your acts of service.
Yeah.
I need your male strength.
Right.
I have $300 nails.
That's what I wanted to ask.
Yeah, I don't want to do.
How does a woman of your caliber date? I'm married, so I'm not out here in the dating
Well, Jesus,
space.
just gonna send a husband there. I just decided about
Oh,
some
you
things
ready?
recently.
You ready to
Like with that AAA earlier today, girl, you could have, if the AAA man would have proposed, he might have got a yes. Like, girl, that's how I feel right now. I know that I would like to be married, and I probably will be married in the next few years. What's interesting is my best friend said something. Even my therapist said it. When you put your mind to it, it happens.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not that I couldn't have been married. I got proposals and conversations, but it wasn't the right timing and the right fit. And I realized that I have to have someone that makes passive income, that can move around with me, but be self-sufficient and comfortable in their own.
Yeah.
That's the formula for me. I know that I have money that comes in different ways, digital, like however you want to, some money comes in through digital products or services, right? So it may not look like I'm always working unless you see me at the computer like this, but rarely do you see me at the computer. Most times you see me on the phone or getting up and going places, right? And even this is a form of income because this is exposure, right? So having to have a partner that understands that, that's not jealous by that, is very, very important to me. And I've been blessed in terms of dating to find those men. But then there's the opposite of that where, like this might be a PG podcast, I don't know. But somebody got to have bigger in the relationship, right? And I know as a woman to submit, so you can have, but in theory, I will have it because of money. And that's a hard pill to swallow.
For a lot of men.
Well, yeah, for most. And so I haven't met anyone that I was interested in that made more than me yet. I would like to. I would like to see what that looks like.
Right.
I'd be shocked to see what I would do.
Right.
But until then.
No, it's interesting though, because a lot of the men in our space, right? I've had these conversations with them, and where they look
they're not checking for, I feel like you could correct me if I'm wrong. I don't feel like the men in our space, we share the same space.
Yeah.
Most are married, which is a great sign.
Most of them are married.
Most are married.
So I have these conversations with married men, of course, some single men.
But even the ones that are single, I want to pause there. I don't feel like they're checking for the women in the space.
With money, no. And they're not. And so I'm just an interviewer. I'm a curious cat, right? So I like to ask questions. And so what I've just observed is, they look at women like us that make great money, on our ish, can get what we want. They look at us as if we can't provide the feminine energy they need, right? But what I think that people need to understand, so feminine energy and this soft life, this is all like a new conversation for people these days.
I'm enrolling into it.
You're enrolling? Oh, listen, I have fully subscribed and subscription is prepaid, okay? Yes. Because that has been earned, right? So like the soft life is something that you have to work for and earn, but it can be true for you. Now, I haven't always lived in my soft life because, and I tell my sister this, as you are dating and like building relationships with people, she was saying that she didn't want to date this one girl because she was just too feminine and she didn't want to have to be the butch in the relationship. And I'm like, well, what you have to understand is that if this woman is successful, she got her own place, own car, good job, college degree, she clearly has some masculine energy because it's the masculine that makes you have goals and makes you go and do the things. Right. It's the feminine that allows you to have the love and care and receive your blessings and stuff like that. But we all have both. And the men in our space seem to think that just because a woman earns a lot of money, that she can't be loving, caring, raise the children. Listen, I want to do it all.
So what's interesting is when I dated someone recently, this is the feedback. The feedback was, wow, I didn't know this side of you. And I said, because you're not supposed to.
Right.
I'm not supposed to give that out in the world of business.
Yeah.
I'm a pit bull with a skirt in business.
Right.
I was like, you get to see, this is a luxury. I do cook. Now, I don't clean, baby. I just have a housekeeper. We need to go stuff like
people can do all the things.
So I have a housekeeper. She come every 2 weeks. Just get used to her. She like you. Just tell her you want your drawers organized. No. I'm not doing that. But I do cook. For me, when I am into someone, I really think about their eating. Like, it's weird. I'm like, did he eat this morning? I think about your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner. And if I really rock with you and I'm traveling, I will send Uber Eats to wherever location. Are you near?
Are you hungry?
Postal address? No. So that's just what I'll do. I don't know. Like, that's just my love language.
Love language.
So my friend will say, if somebody ever say you don't feed nobody, I know they lying. Like,
right.
And so then the other thing for me is I be all in on your projects and your goals, right? And like that could be a good or bad thing. So, I think if we have some common goals and alignment, we'll do better in the relationship.
Yeah.
So,
So that I will say,
mhm,
having the common goals, sometimes that's the part that men don't want.
mhm.
Not to say that they don't want it, but the men in our space, what I've seen is, they want to have their goals, right? So they got their goals and they're working, and it's like you're my wife. You're not involved in this. This is men's business. You know what I'm saying? That's just what I've seen. But I agree. I feel like if we can have common goals together, then
So I already decided I'm gonna need.
what's the
I'm gonna
list?
need
What the laundry list look like,
a
girl?
alpha beta.
Okay. And what is that?
I need him to be alpha to the world. He's probably gonna be beta to me.
Mm-hmm.
I know. There, I said it. I can't wait to see your comments on this conversation. Don't tag me. So, what do I mean by that? So, I when I date men, I've noticed recently that I look for father protector figures, and it's things I'm working through in therapy right now. Meaning, like, I like guys that have done like boxing. It's so funny. The last 3 guys I dated did a form of boxing, professional security. Like they could have a club.
They're
they don't even know
protectors.
it. I didn't even mean to.
Right.
It was just something they gave off.
Right.
I remember I was dating this one guy a few years back, and he did something with his arm and tucked me behind him.
You love them.
Somebody was coming. I was like, "That's it. We together." I was like, "Ooh!" I ain't never touched me. He scooped me, and the way the scoop was so forceful. I actually, I'm a big girl. I moved with the scoop. Oh, I'm so excited.
Right.
So I found out later, and then he did this other thing that was so like, ooh, what was that? Just to move. He was like, he was in the army as a sharpshooter, and his job was to protect and recover. And I was like, damn, we're gonna get out of a shootout. Like, that's sexy to me.
Right.
We together. So again, if I should take more to that.
Listen.
So dating's been interesting for me in this season because I'm still figuring out me, and I'm making more money than I made before. And every year I'm going to be a different version of myself. And so I have to make the decision, what version do I want to be this year? Am I wanting to be a wife? Do I want to be? And so I made a decision that I want to be a wife.
Yeah.
And I said, I would like to be a wife by this date. And these are the activities I know to do. So in order for me, in my mind, I felt like to get to the goal of being with a person, not just being married to be married, I want to be clear on that, but having a partner.
Right.
I know that I'm going to have to probably slow down a bit. Like all this solo traveling, like this look cute and all, but this is a little scary to some men. It look cute. It's funny, my DMs pop the hardest when I'm traveling. It's a thing about you probably being unreachable. I get the craziest DMs when I'm traveling. Like if I'm like, Will's up, I know 10,
on a yacht somewhere.
Yeah, 10 DMs is coming. Or like first class me, PJ, you like thirst trap video posts, whatever. They are going to go crazy.
Right.
When we going to take that trip. We ain't never going to take a trip in theory.
Right.
But it's just so crazy. So anyway, but advice too for a young woman in business, there's a season for, in my opinion, love and being all in. And there's a season of selfishness that has to occur.
Absolutely.
I couldn't have built $1 million business if I was about me and you.
Right.
Like that, in theory, that would not work.
Right.
Somebody has to give in to something. It's normally the woman. And then I'm meeting men at this age with children. So now I gotta care about your children goals. Can they ass read? Like stuff that I don't want to think about right now.
Right.
But there was a season in which I did want to think about that stuff.
Right.
With the right person, I do want to think about that stuff.
Yeah.
But in theory, I don't care.
Yeah.
That's messed up out loud. Like,
it's not. Because you're being honest about the season that you're in.
Yes.
And that's okay. And that's what we all have to understand is like, all of this shit is seasonal. Like, yeah, you're making $1 million a month right now, but you ain't doing that for 50 years plus, So everything that we do is seasonal. Relationships are seasonal. And even in my life as a wife, right? Like I would say like I said, I'm fully subscribed to the soft life.
Yeah, how you been married? How many years?
In theory, I've been married going on 5 years.
Okay.
We've been together for about 11 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and we have an 8-year-old and going on 2-year-old.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's great. It's not easy, right? So there are compromises and things like that especially I have to do as a business owner, a mom, a wife, because I'm like you. I want to go, 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 go. And at certain points, of course, before I had my kids, I was going. But then I had my first son. It slowed me down a little bit, but I found my way, and he was rolling. Like, it was so easy for me to get up with my one son and go. The second
That's
one,
funny.
and now at the second one, so having two kids, and I guess at my age where right now I'm 35, it's not the same. Trying to get up and travel every month or every week or every 2 weeks, 2 times out of the month, 3 times out of the month, it's just not the same for me.
And here's the thing, and let me say this, and tell me if you experience this. Is good, guys. This is good. I'm telling you, this is good. Well, insight, right? Like, so do you feel like you get the invitations you would desire to get, or people thinking of you? Because I feel like what my fear is, I don't have children yet, but my fear is, I'm 35, so it's like, hey, what are we doing here? Ooh.
Right.
And I'm not pressured though. Like,
Yeah.
I've made it in my mind that I could be the cool auntie, the rich auntie. So,
well, I got 2 nephews for you.
Yeah, like, So I have decided that I would only have a child if I was married, and the child was a reflection of the love I have for my husband. My mom said, oh, well, nothing's guaranteed. Because my mom's a single mom, like, that's a single mom answer. Thanks, Mom. Like, I'm trying to, like, change something here. And I told her, I said, well, even if it didn't work out, I had went in with good intentions that I was trying to do something different.
Done that you could do.
I said, if it didn't work, then it's still going to work, you know. I said, but can I at least go in with the intent?
Yeah.
She was like, well, I didn't see it like that. Because she wants to be a grandmom. I'm only child.
Right.
So she like, guys got work.
What you doing here?
Yeah. And she was like, well, is marriage looking closer?
Right.
Because I just see you talking to a few people. And I'm like, now you got to get blocked on social media. But I want to go here with this question. So let me ask a question. This is good. Do you ever have any fear or concerns? It might have never crossed your mind, but I thought about this. I didn't want people to, I don't want to say write me off, but almost kind of like engage with me less or invite me to things less if I had a child, or because people would think, oh, she's not available.
Well, yeah. So I do think that there is some sense of like, okay, she's probably too busy, and if she's not engaging with me, then she's not available. So where I am right now in my life is being more intentional with my relationships. When we were younger, it's easier to just get around and be around people. But because I'm not traveling as much as I used to, I'm not showing up to events as much as I used to, I have to be more intentional in creating real relationships. You know what I'm saying? But I don't feel like I'm missing out or anything, because I'm still getting I'm getting everything at home. Like, I'm getting love from my kids. My business is doing well. It could be doing better if I was out here using my relationships, but everything is seasonal. And I give into that. Like, I give into like, God, you got this. And this is the season I'm in. And I'm fully accepting this. And I have a vision for when this is not going to be the time. You know what I'm saying? I have a 1-year-old. He'll be 2 this year. But by the time he's 3, I think I'll have a little bit more freedom. But right now, I'm doing the work to get that freedom that I see for myself. You know what I'm saying? So we're all continually growing, always progressing. And I don't know. I don't look to people for invitations, because I be, like you said, you happy by yourself. You're only child. You talk to yourself. You have your own good fun. I go travel. I got money. I do what I want to do. So
I do say I will try to be more intentional, and I have even like reaching out to you about this.
Yes, and I appreciate you for reaching out.
Well, girl, I normally don't. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm like, she's doing it. You go, girl. Woo! And I could be right there.
And we don't. We think that people are supposed to reach out to us and invite us.
Oh, I know.
And that is Atlanta. That's a big Atlanta thing. Like,
oh, is it?
Girl, Atlanta people will not come out to your events unless you give them a personal invite.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, now I'm subscribed to that. No, I feel like what I do, especially in our community of friends and colleagues, I think that I have intentionally not come off available because I get burnt out easily. Like, my mental health.
Well, you got a big community too.
Well,
so you're pouring in so many places. Yeah. And that's the thing for me. Right now, last year, last year, I was pouring in my kids.
Right.
I have a 7-year-old turning 8. He just started football. He's like getting bigger.
That was a priority.
That's priority for me. And like you said, I'm breaking generational curses. My parents didn't have the opportunity to raise me. I raised myself. And pretty much I feel like our generation almost raised her. That's how I grew up, because I had a lot of cousins.
Right.
I have my mom had me when she was 16. So we pretty much grew up together. And as kids, we raised ourselves. So like I am more intentional in giving my kids direction and guidance and teaching them about the world and not just letting YouTube just raise my kids,
Right.
because
You wanna
some
be more
people are
hands-on.
so busy that they don't have the opportunity to do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. So I think in this season, I want to be more like, hey, think of me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I come to Atlanta, I'm being more intentional to say, let's do lunch. Let's
Right.
do, to foster those relationships.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to know and like each other, but when
Right.
you don't really know somebody, you don't really get money with them.
Right.
Because, and again, I want to make some money. I want to be very clear. Like, I like people, but I like purpose-driven relationships too.
Mhm.
Because I think that there's a season for like your newfound best friends, right? Your dating. But most of the people I encounter, we are aligned and think the same about money and how we want to serve people. So we can do that if we trust each other.
Right.
We trust each other by making space of like, hey girl, let's
To
get
build.
together for
Yeah.
a happy hour.
Yes.
So if I could live in that space a little more, I think it would make me more fulfilled. And when I realized as a $1 million earner, you need to be around others like that because the conversations are different.
Mhm.
One thing we might say at lunch could change the narrative for
For
us
your
on
business.
something.
Yes.
So it's very important because I'm really honing in on that in this season. So
Okay.
we'll see how it goes.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to that and
It's
seeing
ATL
things
streets.
blossom.
Look, it's ATL streets.
Right. I'm looking forward to you being here a little bit more because that's what you said.
That is my commitment.
Yes.
It is.
Yes. So, $1 million earner. Let's talk about the business. How has business been for you? You started at doing $50 consults. Where is Student Loan Doctor at right now?
So the Student Loan Doctor business made $1 million, and then the University, the digital product business made $1 million, and they're making good. I would say one business in certain seasons does better than the other. Some months are like great for both. I'm like, it's
Right.
vacation. And then some seasons like, okay, this is
We got to
the
buckle down.
company that's carrying.
Gotcha.
It's just ebbs and flows, right?
Yeah.
And I had to make peace with that because I was stressed out initially when I started to see the numbers doing what they were doing. No, business is good. I mean, obviously, we're in a very tumultuous time with student loan debt. Thanks, Biden. So whenever Biden makes an announcement, I'm probably going to make some money.
I love it.
Honest. I will pull over and do a live.
Right.
Guys, did you just see what came down the pipeline? What? Tell me. If you want me to tell you, type yes. Yes. And so I've become like a news reporter, if you will,
Right.
with personality about the topic.
Right.
So it's been fun for me, and I think that it's helped me employ the things that I like to do. Like I really have a passion for stand-up comedy. Like
girl, you are a comedian for sure.
Yeah, but I don't really want to be a comedian. So
Right.
like I want to live in my version of
Yeah.
it. I want to make you laugh, and I want to make some money.
Right.
Like just to get up there and just tell some jokes.
Right.
Like, I don't want to do that. But if I have a topic driven, and it just helps me express my personality because low key I really am sarcastic. But if I do it with a low key caca, nobody gets offended. So, but I'm going to say what I'm going to say, and I don't want to be fighting on these streets.
Right. You got to laugh at the end.
But I would, and as I get older, I'm telling you, like, give me a book on this topic. I have less of a filter. Like as I get older, I am really like, I don't give up. And the more money I make,
Right.
I really don't give up.
Of course.
So it's really hard for me. I'm struggling over here because I have this monologue that sometimes comes outside. So in any case, I'm working on some things, but and I'm not mean-hearted. It's just I think that for example, I told you I'm starting a podcast.
Yes.
I just got to tell them real quick. Tune in when it gets going. But it's about common sense.
Okay.
Common sense for women. I'll invite you on. I think you have common sense. But not a lot of people have common sense.
Okay.
And I don't want it to be from like a mean girl perspective, but like just like some basic conversation with a little funny twist to it. Because it's like we don't really have our grandmoms, like our old school grandmoms anymore.
Right. Because they
Like,
used to raise us.
Everybody a glam mom. Hell's a glam mom.
Girl.
I need a grandma.
I have a glam mom. My mom is a glam mom.
No, we gonna. Anyone have time for that?
Well, you gotta imagine. My mom had me when she was 16.
I forgot.
So right now she in her early 50s, 53, 54.
So we need to think about the generation of our children, right? Like your children may not know a grandmom. Just saying.
Well, he's got to meet my grandma, which is his great grandma.
She's still alive? She's still alive?
Yes, because they're young too.
Oh, shout in.
My grandma's 64.
Oh no.
My grandma, and then that is his great grandma. She's 64.
So is she like a grandma?
Well, yeah, because she was my grandma. She was that nurturing grandma. She pretty much raised
She's
me
not
type of
grandma. She's
grandma.
grandma.
She's not. She's a real grandma.
Well, praise God, they got
And
one.
then their other great grandma was like 80 something. So
right. So my grandmother passed away at 83, I believe.
okay.
So like grandma, right? And then, I said to my mom, I'm like, Mom, you a little petty. Like, hey, tell about stuff. I was like, you are not embodying the spirit of grandma. And I just feel like a lot of the stuff that I learned from my grandmother was passed to me, even certain recipes. And so I feel like I have a due diligence within my family to play like that role. And I still balance with me being younger than a lot of people I'm playing the role too. It's very weird dynamic in my family. But my mom, I feel like my mom was supposed to assume it on my aunt, and like they are not.
Right.
They are done.
Right.
I'm like, does the legacy die? So anyway, there's a lot of
somebody have to keep it alive.
No, seriously.
And I think we are gifted with that because we have a level of knowing and awareness of ourselves that I feel like our parents didn't have. My mom had me when she was 16. Then she had other kids and was a single mom. So she never had the ability to learn about herself, to do therapy until she was in her 50s, right? So like we had that. We have the ability to know ourselves, love ourselves. And the older generations just didn't because they were just trying to get by in my family, right? Of course, some generations are further along than that. But I think that's like the plague. But so it's for us to break it.
And my family's success was very, very important, probably like in a abnormal way.
Yeah.
Well, I'm grateful for it.
Yeah.
This is why I am who I am.
Yeah.
But let me explain. Like, let's back up. My grandmother, she went to college. She was out of 7 kids. There was no financial aid. Remember, back in the 30s, or let me see if she was born in the 30s. She went to school in the 40s, 50s.
She went to college?
She graduated with a bachelor's.
Oh, nice.
One of 7, he said, you all vote on which one goes to college.
Oh, wow.
Only 1 of 7 can go.
Wow.
He said, I have enough saved. This is her uncle to send one of you. He said, our family's going to start to go to college. This is an actual family meeting.
Wow.
And she said she popped up, and she was the youngest, and she told them why she should be the one to go.
Oh.
And I could see her because she was like I guess me,
firecracker. Right.
And I'm like, and she said it was one of the person that expressed that they wanted to go, but she was not. She said she was not about to pick no cotton.
Yeah.
That was her exact words.
Wow.
Because remember at that time, picking cotton was a actual job at this point. No longer slavery, but a job.
Gotcha.
So she was like, I was not about to pick cotton.
Right.
So she did good in school. She went to college. She met my grandfather, her husband in college. She moved to Philadelphia.
Gotcha.
She started my family in Philadelphia. So we were the only ones up there for many years. So it's all this stuff that, like, in hindsight, when I hear about my grandmother's story, I'm like, somebody had to be successful. So she raised her children and grandchildren that if you did not go to college, you went to the military. And there was a period behind it.
You had to do something.
Ain't no trade school. Ain't no, like... So everybody, for the most part, everybody was going to college.
Nice.
But one. And there was an effect on it. You could see it. My grandmother had grade A credit. She would co-sign for you. You needed American Express Platinum would handle that. But, and my cousin and I had this conversation recently, but the one, and she did some stuff that opted her out of some stuff too.
Yeah.
Like, girl, you wasn't as, but my grandmother was sweet. She loved you.
Yeah.
But even down to how my grandmother would serve her macaroni and cheese. Like, I wanted the macaroni and cheese from the middle. I know this sounds like whatever.
In the middle?
I like the middle.
I like the edges.
And I remember my cousin said she wanted the middle too.
Ooh.
She said, no, baby, I'm going to have to get this to Sonia. I got the middle. And I always was like, why did I get the middle?
Yeah.
But it was favor. Because I did what she said you needed to do.
Yeah.
And it went a lot of conversation with my grandmother. She was sweet.
Right.
But
she wasn't playing.
Right. And so long story short, when my grandmother passed, in the will, it was her 3 children. My mom, my uncle, my aunt, semicolon me, the whole entire will. So my one cousin goes, what the hell we sitting here for reading this will? He was like, I ain't in this. So, but she thought highly of me because I remember, and I had explained to some other cousins. So you have to remember, I said my grandmother had to like raise me. My mom got really sick when I was younger, like 16. And then my grandmother took over. And then she already kind of was raising me anyway because my mom was a single mom.
Yeah.
The other 2 had married parents, you
Gotcha.
know? So I was like, it's a different relationship. She was like the dad.
Yeah.
And like, oh, well, if you say it like that, you know, in hindsight. And then I had to remind them, everybody, when they turn 20 or whatever, Y'all wasn't here for them weekend runs, them Saturday morning calls.
Right.
Sonia,
Right.
I'm dressed and ready. I'm like, ma'am, I just got in from the club. Like, I am not
ready.
I am not ready till 2:00. I like to get there before 11.
Right.
Before it gets crowded.
I love it.
So good memories, but there was an expectation of excellence, if you will, that was very much communicated.
I love it.
Silently, unsilent.
And so that's what I'm bringing to my family.
Yeah.
So my family, my mom had the stance of y'all can do what y'all want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And for certain type of children, I think that's great, right? For me, I'm a free spirit. I could do that. I'm also a leader. I'm the oldest of 8 siblings. So I could have a parent that just says, go do what you want, because I'm going to go find some things to do, and thank by the grace of God and some other parents out there in my community, some of my friends' parents, I was able to find the right things to do. But there are some children, what I'm learning as a parent is some children need that guidance.
Mm-hmm.
They need that parent to say, no, I'm not playing with you. This is what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's going to be me and my family. Like my sons, my nieces, I got my goddaughter, she's on her way to college. And that's just, if you want to be around me, I'll give you money. We have great times. We're going to go ball. We're going to go have a great time. But you got to be doing what you got to do. And that's just that.
Where do we go from this part?
Where do we go from here?
Good.
So tell us, what do you have going on at the Student Loan Doctor? How we can tap into, all of the things.
Yes.
So first off, I want to say this. First off, I am so proud of you.
Oh,
I'm so proud of you. Just growing and glowing and like
grow.
Yes, it's been so,
yes.
So first of all, I'm gonna tell you guys, when I first saw her at FinCon, she was at her table, she had her books. I never heard of you. But you carried yourself like you should know me. I carried myself the same way. So I'm like, okay, I like her. She a little standoffish, but it's all good. Like,
that comes from being from Philly.
I'm from Jersey.
Oh.
And so I don't mind.
Maybe that's why you got over it.
I don't mind, My best friend, when we first met in the first grade, my best friend was like, girl, I don't care if you mean, we still gonna be friends. But I was the same kind of standoffish, kind of, you know what I'm saying? But ain't mean nothing by it. But I just like to operate in my world because I know people was weird, people crazy, people don't mean it well,
Exactly.
But I have seen you just grow and glow and just do your thing in the space. So I just want to say, I'm proud of you for that. And what I want to point out to the audience is that, I love that, you used to do this as a job. So you were working in financial aid, you were helping people, and you found a love for helping people, and you took your knowledge. A lot of us feel like, oh, I'm just going to go and work this job. Oh, I hate this job. This job is, you know what I'm saying? But when you operate in that energy, you don't get a chance to learn the lesson, right? And so essentially you learn.
A boot camp.
Everything is a boot
camp. And I say this
even
right before
your job.
The Student Loan Doctor popped. I had to serve, I was asked to serve on my church's education committee, and it was a mega church, $1 million budget. So speaking in front of hundreds, managing the scholar, like this was, and I remember saying to myself, I said, God, this got to be some type of boot camp, because I did not find pleasure.
Right. And you wasn't looking for that job.
No, girl, it's work.
But they gave it to you, and you was managing $1 million budget.
They wasn't gonna give it to me. I was new to the committee.
Right.
I just knew I was just gonna come to my little meeting once a month, give my little input, and leave. What? First meeting, we want to vote Sonia. I said, oh no. I was like, I remember looking up like, this got to be you, because I ain't supposed to be here.
Right.
And somebody just invited me to the meeting. It's such a setup.
Right.
And maybe it was the second meeting. I got voted on for one of the prominent roles. How? Y'all don't know me.
Right.
What did Jesus say to y'all?
This is her.
So
she has arrived.
It was 50 people in the room. They could have picked. Okay. Let me fast forward. Hey, y'all. I appreciate it in hindsight. It was the best boot camp. It taught me how to do big live events. I'm serious. Like how to confirm the speakers. What does the budget look like? Food, organization, setup, volunteers.
Right.
All the things that I do now in business.
Yes.
Right. I had got that boot camp by serving the Lord. Now, again, I'm telling you, 2015 to let's say 19, I was tired. I'm still probably sleepy from those years. So I'm literally just coming into these years of like, I like this. I like it here.
Okay.
Because it was not the cute picture on Instagram
Right.
that I guess I'm painting.
Yeah.
Now. I feel so bad about that. I really wish that we could show, and I should find some of
Show
those
the real.
archive photos
real
and videos. Yeah, like
it's a lot. You know, I think Instagram is just what Instagram is a place for it to be nice and pretty and happy, right?
Yeah.
Like who want to come and see some depressing, sad? You
No.
know, I don't know, but
No.
I mean, at the end of the day, in order for you to be efficient in your business and market like you need to, I think you're doing what you need to do. But once you find that time and space to fall back a little bit from business, then I think you'll have more space to be able to show it. But I'm not one to show the business. I'm like, I'm just doing the work.
I do like that about you. I think we got into a space, and I'm getting out of it. I don't know if you noticed. I don't show as much as I used to. I feel like I used to show a lot of like the Lamborghini, the like, and I think we were kind of like getting into that.
Yeah.
I'm coming out of that, safety first, and also the Lamborghini doesn't mean to me what it meant to me last year.
When you bought it.
Yeah, I'm ready to sell it.
You ready to sell it?
I drive it once every 2 weeks.
Right.
Like I have to literally think of somewhere to go because we make our money at home.
Right.
And it's like if somebody invite me out, I will say there's more places in Miami to take it than not.
Yeah.
But then if I take it, I'm annoyed that I gotta pay $100 valet. I'm like, I don't even eat this much. I don't even eat $100 worth of food. Like, oh God. So I think the car for me, but if I were to move to Atlanta, I probably would keep it for another year. I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
Because it is something
for
about
events and stuff.
It's a conversation starter.
Right.
It sets the tone. Like this girl probably is about whatever she's about.
Yeah.
Most people are not driving one.
Right.
Or you could rent one, but even then, I think people that rent them have some type of money.
Yeah.
It's not cheap.
Expensive to rent a Lamb. Yeah.
I did not rent, guys. But I would like to sell it soon. And I don't even know what car we'll go into next. Because I have an affinity for cars. Like I'm a car girl.
Oh Lord.
So it's got to be something that make me go,
right.
And that's what the Urus did for me. But girl, the Urus payment.
Right. How much is it? Tell me.
No, my mom might see this.
Is it more than 10,000?
No.
Is it more than 8,000?
No. See where you're going with this. No, stop it.
Okay. So it's more than 5. Okay.
The point is, right there.
That's $1 million. That's a mortgage on $1 million house.
I know. The point is, I like that face. No, I mean, and somebody was like, "Can you afford?" Like, you tried it. I can afford it 10 times over.
Right.
It's just that, like, it is really the conversation starter. I just can't. It pulls up and it introduces me in itself. We already know we're going to get the best table. We already know we're going to, like, so it says what it's supposed to say. Like, never forget, like, Cuba Gooding Jr. tried to spin the block on me. And he saw me pull up in, like, the lamb chop. It was funny. It's right when I moved to Miami. I was like, I like it here. I forgot all about Cuba. He was like, how you doing? And I'm like, what? Like, because I couldn't see who it was at first. But I knew the voice, right?
Well, you know Drake like plus size too, honey.
Do we? No, Drake. Oh, wait, no. And it's funny. You know what's funny? These people are not even inaccessible anymore.
Right.
They're at the same events I'm at.
Right.
Same section.
Right.
The guy dating it's his bodyguard.
Right.
Most times. Like, that would be weird. I was like, I got too excited about something one time. He like, you all right?
Right. You need to pipe down a little bit.
So I had to explain to him my non-negotiable. I'm going to say something right now. I said, you might want to put a ring on it because if so-and-so called me, I'm out. No.
Well, listen, you get a hall pass. You know?
Is that what the term is?
Yeah, you get a hall pass. If your celebrity, if you had a chance with your celebrity,
Usher,
whatever.
If you see this, Usher, USHERRAYMOND. I used to change the wall every week from last week. The point is, I do have a list of people.
Right.
All right. I took one person. I don't want to say who it is. He made me that. He used to have all my passwords as his name. But I love Usher and Wale.
Okay.
Here's the true story about Wale.
2 short guys. That's interesting.
Is
They're
Usher
both
short?
Yeah.
Everybody taller than me? I don't know. Well, actually, I got a picture with Wale. He's a little taller than me.
Yeah.
And I never forget, he came to Philly. and he put his hands through my faux locks, right? Like, girl, stop playing with me. We don't even have no show tonight. Like, and I'm gonna tell you somebody now. The Lord knew it was the year before money came in. Like, I was making some money, but I knew if I had that same ego that, like, today,
right,
what?
You would have been,
baby, go on, cancel that show. And he probably would have did it.
Right.
Because anyway, I do think, and see, that's the part I'm talking about with my ego, with this dating. I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. See, you know, and I'm just say this, like, it's not even just about the money. I think there's a new confidence that comes with, it's just going to be what's going to be, whether you're around or not.
Yeah.
Right? And somebody said it to me, it's like, I need to know your name. He said, the way you move, he said, you got to be on something that I need to know about. He said, it's your confidence. And I was like, oh, good to know.
Okay.
Yeah. So, any case, we can talk about all this stuff offline.
Right. Yes.
But
well,
we don't know how this might get to Usher.
Right. So Usher, if you're available, my girl.
Well, he in a relationship right now?
I don't know. But you know, he likes older women. But you know, they all love.
No, this new girl's younger.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. I don't be on the blogs and stuff.
I'm not a home record, but if he didn't put a ring.
Well, Sonia, oh my gosh, this was so fun. I can't wait to launch your podcast. I know we're going to have some great conversations on there.
No, we're going to talk about some stuff like new bras and draws.
Okay.
You have to buy new bras and draws to be successful.
Okay.
So, again, these are not going to be orthodox.
But the principles
will
of
be
a
there.
Successful
I'm going to let you know I'm going to be the foolery and you guys are going to be the principal.
Okay.
Yes,
all right.
There we go. I'm going to live in my strengths.
Well, you guys, make sure that if you're not following Sonia, she is the Student Loan Doctor on Instagram.
Yes.
Please tell the people, I don't know if you have anything coming up where they can tap into your information
when is this thing,
and how they can get in touch with you. When the show comes
out? How?
Not exactly sure, but if you have like a monthly webinar or something. You can
so we always have free classes. So pretty much every day, there's a free class. If they go to my page, they will see the information to tap into our email list and our text message list. That would be the best thing to do. But there's always free classes. We're doing a lot of live events between Philly and Atlanta, so somebody might want to come out to those. And then I'm going to be looking forward to doing more partnerships and actually getting out the house and stages again.
Right.
There's an anxiety that I had going back onto stages. We haven't been on stages in some years.
3 years.
I started last year again, and it was interesting.
Yeah.
I'm like, these are real people. Oh, they laugh. On cue, no delay. So it's been really good to get back out into it and not be so scared about just everything.
Well,
like
you had
COVID.
a mega event on that mega yacht in Miami.
Yes.
So y'all, she is doing amazing things.
That was my Diddy moment.
That was her Diddy moment. She had the biggest yacht in Miami for her last event. So she has events, she has free classes, all kind of stuff going on. Look, she over here still fantasizing about Usher. But make sure you guys follow this queen, Sonia Lewis, my good girlfriend. She out here slaying student loan debt every single day, millions and millions of dollars. So tap in with her on that. And make sure you follow me, Shaniqua Nicole, the Millennial Money Maven, on Instagram at Money Maven Club. And like and subscribe this video and like the channel. We'll see you guys next time. We appreciate you for joining us. Peace. Thank you for watching this week's episode of Black Wealth Weekly. I'm your host, Shaniqua Nicole, and I hope to see you next week. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on them notifications, and head to blackwealthweekly.com where you can read all the new episodes of These Entrepreneurs and so many others.